and welcome to Liquid Lunch. We're coming at you live. It's Monday, March 24th, 2014, and it's me, Hugh, and I have a special guest host today. Gail Scott is here. Let's see what Gail looks like on camera.
Woo!
There she is.
Hi, everybody.
So you won the contest, Gail, right?
I did.
On Jeanette Burke's show.
I did. I probably was the first person to call in and say, I want me that
Well, you
thing.
had to be the first to win the contest,
So there
which
you
is
go.
what you did. So anyway, it's great to have you here
Thank you.
today.
I'm excited to be here.
We met you about 10 minutes ago, and now we're doing a
Indeed.
show. Oh, Johnny Smash is getting a phone call. Johnny, you're supposed to turn your cell phone off before coming on the show.
Bad professionalism.
See,
on the
I
part
do
of
that.
Johnny Smash.
I do that. That happens to me too, but my cell phone broke. It fell on the concrete, and I have to get the faceplate replaced, so I don't have to worry about that today. But let me just start. Before we get into it with you, Johnny Smash, we've got Jasmine Starchild coming on the show a little bit later.
Jasmine.
We've got Kim and Amy Sedgwick from the Red Tent Sisters. And Red, everybody's got Red on today.
Yeah.
Except you, baby.
Except me. Okay.
It's good to be unique, though, Hugh. You are unique.
And so are you,
Thank
Johnny
you.
Smash.
Merci beaucoup.
Also, Jeanette Burke's coming on the show a little bit later, and that was on her show is where you won the contest, right, Gail?
Yeah.
But we're going to start the show off with a bang, right, Johnny? Because just give us a little intro to what you're doing here today and all the people that you brought to the show.
Well, it's me, Johnny Smash, and I'm out here in the Canadian music industry. I have a lot of people out there working very hard. So today we're going to bring on Burning Bliss, which is run by a very lovely lady by the name of Sonia Harry. Now, Burning Bliss has a project, and it's called Project Phoenix. It's a great look. What Project Phoenix has done is collaborate with artists on the international level, bringing you an international album. So we have the music, we have the arts involved. Now, in addition to this, what makes the story such a wonderful story and complete now is that Burning Bliss, through Phoenix Project that she created, is a charitable organization that does things for abused children and abused women. So it's a great look. So this Friday, they're having a show where they're featuring some artists, and we want you to come out. It's at Cornerstones at 1601 Birchmont, right at Ellesmere. And it's a great project, and we're going to talk to the people involved. We're going to have a couple of artists, David Record, and also Scotian Sparks. They're great artists. They'll be here for their interview, and it's going to be a great show because Phoenix Project is here, Burning Bliss is here, and shout out to Sonia Harry.
Okay, so we're going to find out all about that.
Oh, yeah, it's a great project. I mean, like, this is about giving, you know. Life is about giving. Like, the key to love is actually to give, and then you see what happens after there. And
okay.
I love it.
All right, so let's, we got Scotian Sparks and David Record here. So let's watch, we got a video to start, and then we'll bring
very
Scotian
interesting
Sparks
video.
on, right?
Scotian Sparks is not your everyday hip-hop artist. He's originally from Parkdale, so shout out to the Parkdale. So he's been there, done that. You understand? It's not something that was created for you, some sort of image. Right. Scotian Sparks is a very real person, a very real artist, and he's so artistic because in this video in particular, it's called Charlie Sheen, and he goes into a different character. So it's not your traditional hip-hop, and I love it. Scotian Sparks, hot like fire.
Okay. Not like butter?
No, he's not butter. Butter is soft. Scotian Sparks is hard. Shout out to Nova Scotia, always representing. Shout out to Ben Zoda's Psycho, coming from Johnny Smash. Shout out to North Preston's. But the day belongs to Scotian Sparks. Downey. Yeah, he's a Downey. Nova Scotia. Let's get the videos. Charlie Sheen is sick with it. Yeah.
Okay. We'll be right back.
He says his life is now magic, that he was cured in the blink of an eye after answering to a higher calling, hip-hop. We had the privilege of meeting Scotian Sparks at his home for this exclusive interview. Are you on anything right now?
Yes, I am.
When's the last time you used?
Moe flowing by the bottles. I'm holding down the models. Pretty sure tomorrow it's a cold and store in Tahoe. Mine like Obi-Wan and got her open in her taco. American, they say she lean her Scotian in Chicago. My slogan be the pot, yo. If you like it or not, though. She finna so much, it's like you smoking when you not, though. It's potent or not, so I'm toking it a lot. Oh my God, whoa. I think it's time I best sip some Cabacho. Two-step to my gyms all across the dot. Upper class to my gullies and my foster tots. The ones that race the cars that cost a lot. Brick hurlers and the ones that be popping shots. Mofos in your hood, shit, I'm so Barack. But unlike Barack, I can go to spots where dead heads get tossed in an open box. And police don't care if you're smoking pot. They tried to end up in there yesterday. just like Charlie Sheen.
We ain't quit. We ain't quit. We winning.
They thought we won't remember yesterday, just like Charlie Sheen.
We ain't quit. We ain't quit. We winning.
Spilling by the case, yo. She keep talking fellatio. This next hoe got my buddy stiffer than a peso. Trying to pay my rent, yo. So to me she be spatial and always checking for me. She watch me like her cholesterol. Been making hoes straight paint they toast till they glitter. Then I pit her on the bacon, bro. Get on Twitter and I get her some attention, yo. Trying to finish with this business that I'm making go. Re-gift a girlfriend, that's a sin. In fact, they call that human trafficking. In fact, someone called me that been the urge. It got goes, but it back again. Got your chick in Parkdale 416. What you think? Motherfucking her one stick. Jump ship, swim quick to Murrah Strip. Got your chick in Parkdale. They tried to end up in there yesterday, just like Charlie Sheen.
We ain't quit. We winning.
They thought we won't remember yesterday, just like Charlie Sheen.
We ain't quit. We ain't quit. We winning.
Some overproof you a can of fruit. Shoot bananas too, make me apple cider you. With 40 gorgeous shorties just like Tiger do. Like Dipset crew, I'm a junior writer too. In inappropriate games like the coke and the cane. You broke and complain, rather be groping your ding. Like comfort zone, I'll have that bitch open the game. Hit so many lungs when the brain she'll have come in the vein. So in case she bleeds, work can't come in the ring. Scotia Sparks down in Fang, yeah, we running this thing. All day PK like beans, bunning cocaine. My mom's stupid decisions thrust her son in the fame. Got the man just flipping when landed quick. I schmiggle in the middle of your family grip. Get heat all in your ass like a pan of grits. And scratch your face like needles on the man be swift. They tried to end up in there yesterday, just like Charlie Sheen. They thought we won't remember yesterday, just like Charlie Sheen. They tried to end up in there yesterday, just like Charlie Sheen. They thought we won't remember yesterday, just like Charlie Sheen.
We do have David Record. Welcome to the show, guys. You have in front of you two great Canadian artists, Scotian Sparks, Downey, and also we have David Record here, which is part of the Project Phoenix, brought to you by Burn & Bliss. It's about charity, it's about giving, it's about honor, it's about dignity, it's about giving back to community, where they're going to do a show this Friday, March 28th, at Cornerstone, 1601 Birchmont.
Of course, we know where the venue is, Johnny. We're going to put it in the credits. But David, let's just get to know you a little bit. I understand you're from Brampton.
Yep, Brampton. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
It's great to have you on the show.
Yeah.
And so now, how did you get involved in this this event to support the Project Phoenix?
Well, through Sonia Harry. You know, I support Sonia and everything she does, all her endeavors. She's a very beautiful person, always doing things for the community, help out others in need. And she just asked me if I could be of any assistance, and I said, of course. You know, she said it was for battered women and, you know, underprivileged children. And me personally, I mean, that's the point of living to me. You know, that's what we're here for. That's what we could leave behind, you know, a lesson of love, you know, that's all it's about to me.
Well, now I know you also published a poetry book called "Kill Me with Love." Is that
Tell us
what
about
is that all about?
Yeah. I just finished my launch party for my poetry book called "Kill Me with Love." So basically, I'm an artist. I'm a hip hop artist, and basically, my poetry is just an extension of my art. You know, so I like to focus on love when I write about poetry. My music, I write about a lot of different things, but you know, I just need to focus on love in a different spectrum. So that's mostly why I write poetry.
So where can you buy your book, your poetry book?
You can get it on my website, davidrecordmusic.com. You can get it in Brampton Knowledge Bookstore. It's going to be in chapters in the Brampton location very soon. I'll let everybody know on my website.
Now, I understand you're also sponsored by Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
No, I'd love to be sponsored by Tim Hortons too. But how did you make that happen?
I mean, I work with a good team of people, you know. Been doing this for a few years.
No,
now,
how did they
so-
sponsor you? Like, what did they? Like, what happened?
Free coffee? Do you roll up a bring me in?
Or donuts
What's the
that
deal
you
here?
could possibly
Are
imagine.
you allowed to talk about it or?
I mean, I can't really talk about too much, you know.
Right.
Most I can say is that I got a good team behind me.
Yeah.
Well, you clearly got a good team behind you. You just came back from the UK.
And you're
Yeah,
going on a
32
cross.
32
city.
city tour in the UK. Tell us a little bit about that. How's
Yeah,
that
that
different
was-
from here?
That was very eye-opening. I mean, it was a great opportunity. It basically took place through my last single, Submit to Me, you know, getting out there and everybody that promoted it, supported it. Thank you. I love you. Much music, much vibe. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? And my community, Brampton, big up everybody in Brampton, you know, they all support me, you know. And yeah, from that, sprung off into this tour. And when I went out there, it was different than how it is here, the music scene.
In the UK.
Yeah.
In what way?
Also, yeah.
I mean, me personally as an artist, it was different for me because the type of music I noticed that they wanted to hear was different than what they wanted to hear up here from me, you know, that people mostly like to hear from me. Up there was more about they just wanted to jam, you know, they just wanted to vibe, like. But up here, people more take into my lyrics, my content, you know, they want to just feel what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it's maybe because we talk different or whatever, but I don't know.
So you said you got this through a single and you went on a tour in the UK. Don't you have an upcoming single and another single release party coming up?
Yeah, I got a upcoming single called Under Moonlight. You know, it's a very romantic type of tune.
You sound like you're a real romantic kind of guy. You're writing
Yeah.
about love. You're singing about love.
Yeah, it's all about love, you know. So yeah, it's called Under Moonlight featuring Mila J, the next artist upcoming that I work with. Alexandra Sumile, she's also featured on the track. You know, she's doing big things, writing big songs for these big artists out here. So yeah, that's coming soon. I'm gonna have a launch party for it in May 24th, Banquet Hall. It's gonna be big. You guys gotta listen out for the promo so you know where to come at. And yeah, kicking off. We're working on a tour right now, setting up everything for that. Just nationwide though, Canada.
Now, is there a website where people can find out all the latest about what you're up to and that sort of thing?
DavidRecordMusic.com. My
.com,
name is David
okay.
Record.
Yeah.
All right, so it's DavidRecordMusic.com.
Great. So we'll put
Check
that up
out
in the
everything,
credits.
you know.
And let's chat with Scotian Sparks a little bit here. To Scotian, it's great to have you here. Now, I know you're from Toronto originally, but from a
Background in Nova
well-known
Scotia.
Nova Scotian family that's got quite a legacy.
Most certainly. Thank you for saying that. And first of all, thank you for having me. Scotian Sparks from Toronto. And yes, I am of Nova Scotian heritage, East Coast heritage, PEI, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. You know, I was raised by a lady who was born in St. John, New Brunswick. So
And you've got some Micmac heritage as well?
that's correct. My maternal grandmother is basically 80% Micmac, so that would make me native as well.
Right.
So with this Nova Scotian background, because we had this conversation previously, but we're being edited back now, we found out that, you know, first of all, shout out to Nova Scotia, shout out to Benzoza, Psycho, shout out to North Preston from Johnny Smash. We have your great-grandfather, Billy Downey, who was not only involved in the music but also involved in activism. He had a club where a lot of the artists came from through Motown, so it was a very special time in the history of Canada and history of music. Do you want to just elaborate on that? Because my feeling is that with this Downey legacy and what they have said before, it must be sort of hard on you to maintain that legacy, to maintain that fire. Could you elaborate on that for the Canadian public? What it's like to have such a rich history, and where do you think that you're going to take it?
Sure. First question I'll answer. Yeah, my granddad, Billy Downey, did operate the Arrows Club, which operated in Halifax in the 1960s and 1970s, and was monumental in breaking the barriers between black and white tension in Halifax.
So we don't hear about that. I mean, everybody in Canada tends to think that racial
tension
tension
exists
is
in other
something
parts
that
of the world.
never really existed in Canada,
But it did.
Obviously,
That's correct.
That's not the case.
I mean, a lot of the media, you know what I mean, everybody in the world pretty much knows the civil rights movement of the United States, and anybody who can really think, you know, past that would obviously realizing that Nova Scotia is the spot where a lot of the Underground Railroad slaves ended up. Obviously, the racial tension didn't just stop in America; it was prevalent in Canada, and that's what Nova Scotia's contribution to the history of that would be.
And your grandfather?
And my grandfather,
In
yes,
particular,
would be.
didn't he receive an award from?
That's correct. He
Nova
did
Scotia
receive a Nova Scotia Music Award for Black African Americans, and that was for music, and that was basically as a result of his running the Arrows Club, which brought a lot of the famous Motown acts, and was met with rather hostile resistance from, you know what I mean, a lot of the people in the community. But he did, you know, keep running that, and did a lot of positive things. He did a lot of positive things. Really, if you don't know Billy Downey and history, I will be coming out with a documentary sometime in the near future to document a lot of that stuff. So you will get to learn about the great man that he is.
Yeah, and you also mentioned Billy Downey because we know, rest in peace, there's a Billy Downey Jr., which, since you don't know, Hugh, is actually a champion gold medal Commonwealth winner for Canada, and that's through the Downey family. So hats off to Nova Scotia and the Downey family, brought the gold home for Canada. Now, we're talking about family here, and because we pre-recorded before, we had some questions before, so I'm going to bring up a question here. You mentioned that your foster mother, you said the whole East Coast, there's PEI, etc., is from PEI. And we
She's from St. John, New Brunswick.
St. John's,
rather,
sorry about that. Family values. Speak on family values and what you think is the problems out there in society, how we could solve them, and your involvement in the Project Phoenix, because Project Phoenix does deal with abused children and women.
Well, first off, I must say that one thing that you got to know about the East Coast is we were raised on manners, morals, ethics, and principles. So while a lot of the social indifferences that are there, it's still based on a root of, you know what I mean, you know what family is and what love is and what the right thing is. So my personal experience, I was raised by a woman who, when I was born, she was 56, so that's basically like your grandma raising you, you know? So I was raised by her, and she was, of course, born in St. John, New Brunswick, which is still the East Coast. So I have a lot of those same morals, ethics, and principles that a lot of Nova Scotians were raised on, but from more of your grandmother's, you know, point of view. So, yeah, it's just, you know, like...
Yeah. Okay, great. So we have your Cloak and Dagger album out. You can check that out on your new album on their Bandcamp, which is Cloak and Dagger. It's an album. You also have the Ninja Mike Assassin on iTunes, so you can YouTube them. We're going to go to some music right now by David Record. Yeah. We have a previously tape recording. Check out the show. Sonia Harry, she's next. Miss Bird and Bliss, Project Phoenix. You're tuned in to thatchannel.com. Liquid Lunch, you Riley.
Awesome, Johnny.
All I see is a tragedy in harmony
With my misery, I wanna see all of my dreams. Tell me, is it real for me, or it's just a dream? As I fall down on my knees, tell me, Lord, do you remember me? I ran away when I was a seed. I got the mind of a G. I got the heart of a peaceful man, but hard times made me reach my hand inevitably for all that I seen. I don't wanna be the last man standing in the fight over cheese. I'd rather die for love, but the love I need is just a scarce resource in a land full of greed. You feel me? The tears I shed, there's too many. The only ones that seem to care, I knew barely. So maybe they'll only hear me through my lyrical combustion. And probably then my life I mean something. I see it coming. This is the life that I lead. Well, this is the life of a G that died on the streets. This is the life of a girl lost in the world. And the last words was, pray for me, mommy. This is the life that I lead. No, that's not the way that life's supposed to be, baby. But this is all that I see. Tell me if you're really out here for me and say you love me. In the back of my mind, all I hear is cries. Why they always want the real ones to die? I spent half of the time on the grind, the other half just trying to reconcile so I can sleep at night. Memories of the fights that defeated my pride. Learn to be humble when you speak, though it's not easy at times. Cause it's so easy to die in a life full of hollow tips. I don't want no part of it, don't even remind me of it. 9 to 5, I'm hustling. Over time, I'm punching. But these vultures don't want me to have nothing. Said they want me to suffer, though I'm already suffering. And they want me to crumble, but it's not in their budget. I'm on that, ready to riot with police if it need diet. Unless you're riding with me, you better keep quiet. Cause anytime we ride, it's in violence on the lights of the sirens or the boy them. This is the life that I lead. Nah, this not the way that life's supposed to be, baby. But this is all that I see. Tell me if you're really out here for me and say a prayer for me. This is the life that I lead. Yeah, it's not the way that life's supposed to be, baby. But this is all that I see. Tell me if you're really out here for me and say you love me. Yeah, David Record. All I need, all I need, yeah. All I need is the beats, yeah. Opportunity, freedom, yeah. Yo, when my people them from my ends, B-Town represent to the trench, digging in my intellect to manifest every little thing I want possess and no less. Oh yes, although everything blessed, still have a hole in my head, I never know what's next. Climbing up the steps, I don't get no rest till I hustle for what I get, no matter where it ends. It's the T-dot thing that make me want to get free, that make me ride the beat until the world see me. Plus the company that I keep, still I be slowly rolling, feel so lonely from the road with police creep. So you don't know how I succeed. Straight struggling, but I love it. I want the money. If you see it when I come, you should have run it. With all these roads, I know that one leads to my one and only destiny. I said all my goals and dreams I must see when I step into my destiny. Calling me. Step into my destiny. Step into my destiny. Step into my destiny. I straight calling with me. All my goals and dreams I must see when I step into my destiny. Calling on me. When I plant my seed to make the whole world breed, bear fruits for me. I need a nutriency, consistency. I constantly read my frequency. I make it see big semi. There's no limit. Going against the limit. Give me the truckload of women when my shows is finished. I go get it, more giving than receiving. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna ride a beat with no meaning.
On the show here, after seeing these fabulous videos from these artists, David Record and Scotian Sparks, who are going to be at the event this weekend, Johnny Smash, and now we've got Sonia Harry joining us.
Yes.
Hi.
On the show.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you, Gil. You, Smash.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Burning Bliss.
Burning Bliss, baby.
You are Sonia Harry, the head of Burning Bliss, and you've created this project Phoenix, which deals with abused children and women. And the point is to give, to donate. We have an event coming up on Friday, but that name, Burning Bliss, and you, let's start from there, because before Project Phoenix, there was a Burning Bliss. So introduce yourself to the world.
All right, my name's Sonia, and I was raised in Scarborough. Everyone gave big ups to their area, so I'm going to give Bay Mills and Glendower their big up too for me. And Pretty much my background, I'll just say it really quick because it's really long and I just don't want to pull you guys into anything too long. But I grew up in Metro housing. I lived in a shelter with my mother and my sisters and my brother. I grew up there, and I dropped out of high school. I kind of gave up on life. I was wrong and strong, did my own thing. Went back to college, got my degree in medical aesthetics, also got an events planning from George Brown. And from there, I started doing events, just throwing parties with my friends, and it was just too many people to have in a house. So I started renting out venues and then doing themes. And then from there, I worked with 42 Division Police, and we did raise money for a Children's Safety Village. And then from there, I kind of like spiraled, and I don't know if you want how personal.
Spiraled in a good way or a bad way?
I spiraled in a bad way.
She spiraled up.
I had everything that was going good. I had a good career going with my aesthetics. I was bartending. I was making great money, and met the wrong guy. I fell in love with the wrong person. I let him come in my life, and I have nothing against him. I don't want people to think that I hate this person for anybody that does know him. I wish him the best, but I did learn a lot from it, and I lost everything that I worked for in the blink of my eye, and then I kind of took off and went to Vancouver to spiritually find myself.
So what we're getting at here is Burning Bliss started out with you, and you did a couple of events. So you're a winner from the get-go. You work with the police, and you're actually working in the community, making a difference. Don't forget to bring your toy to her event. Donate a toy. There's no money involved, just your time and your effort. This is this Friday. So we have this Burning Bliss, the corporation, but now you're telling me about some personal experience here that you happened with some gentlemen. Sorry to cut you guys off, but
gentlemen, not men.
So this is something that's close to heart. So you decided because of your own experiences to make a change and make a difference.
Yeah.
You know what? Hats off. Hats off.
Thank you.
Actually, I'll take off my glasses to take a good look at you.
Thank you. You know I wanted you to do that, yeah.
Yeah, so let us know about this Project Phoenix and how it evolved. You talk about Vancouver now?
Yeah, I went out to Vancouver. It was a place where I didn't know anybody, and I could get space because a lot of people started doing events. A lot of people started getting in my personal life, and I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't used to all these people taking things that they see as an image, and they assume that's who you are, and it didn't match who I was. So I needed to get some space, went out to Vancouver, went out to Surrey, met a lot of women that were like me, and then I realized the December 6th month YWCA helped me out a lot, get on my feet. But with the government, they pretty much just help you get on your feet financially and give you counseling. But no one's there. No one tells you about when you get home to clean up the mess of something horrific that just happened in your life. There's no one there for that. So you end up sitting in there, and I find that's how most of us women get depressed because I didn't want to talk to anybody. I wanted to be alone. I was upset with myself, you know. So that's when Project Phoenix started with in Vancouver. I went into a few shelters, and I decided I'm going to paint these shelters, and I'm going to bring designers in to cut hair, and I'm going to bring food, and I'm going to bring clothing because I didn't want to ask, and neither do these women. So I'm just going to offer it and do it, and it ended up being a success. And then I was lucky because I had artists in Toronto such as Scotian Sparks and David Records who have stuck with me, I want to say, from the very beginning to now. They have not left my side. They've always pushed me and promoted everything that I'm doing, and together we all collaborated. We're like, why don't we bring hip-hop so it can speak to the youths, because battered women and children is one of the most common human rights violations, and no one's listening. As much as people post up on Facebook, have a great day and God bless and karma and all these beautiful things that people say, they're not doing anything.
Yeah, interesting. I was on the subway, and I seen an advertisement. And I also do advocacy stuff and volunteer. And I always say to people, you got to get up, you got to get involved. So here we have this mock front page of a newspaper where this lady has no electricity. Another one, a lady can't bring her kids to the extracurricular activities at the school. So I'm glad you recognize that it's not just superficial, it's real people, real things. So you made a difference with you going out painting, I guess this was, or you fed the homeless. Now,
fed homeless, painted shelters.
You talk about David Records and Scotian Sparks, and you have this international album that you collaborated. Shout out to the people in California.
We've got Scotian Sparks, David Record, Dean West, Fox Williams, Jelly 2 Fly, Tona from the Freedom Riders, Macaulay King, G Wonder, Scruff Mouth Scribe, Autocrat, Seymour Cash, SD Elements, DJ K-Rec, and Jordan J. Jazz.
Okay, so now you have these other, not only do you do something successful, you also stimulate passion in other people. So my question would be for
But
David.
these people are handpicked. I don't want people to think that I just went out and grabbed whatever artist. Like, each and every artist on this album has been through something, and I'm a fan of theirs as well. So I created an album as a woman, what I would like to listen to, where I'm not skipping songs and, you know, maybe I want to clean around the house. What's something that I could let continuously play that has a message in it, opposed to just listening to something because everybody else is listening to it, you know?
And what I'm saying is here, David Record, you got involved in this project. It's a wonderful thing. You know, she connects to you, but what made you connect to her? What was your reason for getting on board in the Project Phoenix? And let us hear what you have to say about this emotional and big problem that we have in the community around the world, like Sonia said.
Personally, I just like to connect with things that, you know, touch home to me in my heart, you know. These things I grew up around. I saw them, you know, experienced them for myself, you know, and I feel it's my job, especially being in that position, to know what it is like firsthand, to give back any help I can, you understand? So with Sonia, you know, personally, I told you I would help her with anything she asked me to help her, you know?
Right.
But for this whole project we're doing, you know, I mean, one time I heard, they asked me a question in another interview we did. They said, what advice do I have to give? You know, and me personally, it's not even just about the advice to me. It's about doing, you know. It's about helping, putting in the work with them, you know, make things more hopeful for anybody, you know. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to advice to like the youth that grew up in homes with their mother getting battered or anything like that, looking back on it, growing up in those situations, I didn't know what to do, you know? And now that I'm out of that situation, looking back on it, I still don't know what I should have did. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It's all about being strong and just keep believing, you know? And that's what I'm here to do, just help them know that somebody cares. We care, you know?
So, Sonia, assuming that someone cannot come to your event on Friday night, then tell our audience how they can support you. What do you need? What could they do in the future? How can they connect with you? What is it that you want to have happen moving forward with this project?
Moving forward, before I say anything, there's a team in BC that I didn't get to mention, and it's Michelle from Design with Confidence and Nikki from Team Clips, and then I also have Darcy from Full Circle, Tyrone from Creative Minds. We have like a whole team out there as well, and because we're doing it 2 cities, right? Like this is like I bit off more than I could chew, but it's
so
happening,
you're doing
right?
this on the West Coast and here in
Vancouver
Central
and in
Ontario.
Toronto. So
Right.
we've married them both. So if you want to help with anything, we do need help. We're not funded by any government. This is straight out of my own pocket. So it's just people around me that have helped. So if you want to contribute any way, you can go to burningbliss.ca. And then on Facebook, you can find us under Burning Bliss Inc. events. And then you can also email me, burningbliss@hotmail.com.
Yeah, and Sparks here. Can we get a comment from Sparks? Because I know you, Sparks, but the Canadian public wants to know how did you get involved in this, and what are you going to do for your part, Sparks?
Well, how I got involved actually with Miss Sonia Harry is actually through Johnny Smash.
Okay.
You know, he acquainted us not too long ago, and we just, you know, I realized that some of the same struggles that Miss Harry's gone through, you know what I mean, be that she is a woman, I've seen a lot of my family come through. So even though it's not firsthand, I understand it. And I've seen people go through a lot of the things that she has and not come out even close to as upright as she is, and you know what I mean, level-headed, and you know, like a lot of times some of the things that those women go through, it has an outcome that brings them into drugs, brings them into the streets, brings them into prostitution, you know what I mean, and those kind of things. And it's very easy to go those kind of routes. But how I commend Miss Harry is because she stood up in the face of those very same injustices, and instead of letting it get her down, she basically, you know, grabbed her chariot, got the horse, and went to business, you know. And I can't help but like he said, take my hat off, you know what I mean, and just like applaud and, you know, be very, very, very blessed to be around people like her, because a lot of you see that she does it for me, a lot of you see that she does it for David Record, but Miss Harry off the record is like she's something else, man. And just you know, like, we need more people like her, but we're thankful that we have her, you know. So you just need to kind of look at people like her and help out in any way you can. You might not be able to give money. You might not be able to go into homes like we do and you know, paint or talk to some of these disadvantaged kids. But there is something that everybody in this world can do, just like she did, just like David Record did, just like a lot of us, you know what I mean, the people that we come in contact to on a daily do. And they never step outside of their means, but within their means, they do some very, very positive and powerful things. And everybody here, everybody out there has the same in them. You just got to find what your contribution can be and just, you know what I mean, like, lend that or be that, or, you know what I mean, like, there doesn't have to just be one Sonia Harry. There could be, you know what I mean, a lot of Sonia Harrys, but you just got to find what it is that you can contribute and just
do it.
Perfect that.
Yeah.
So Sonia, moving forward now from these two events, and you're asking people to bring in toys for kids, and then what? That's my question. What comes next? What comes after these two events? What's your vision? What's your mission?
I would like to marry BC and Toronto together. So
Right.
I would like to, in the long run, I would like to bring the team that I have in BC together with the team that I have in Toronto. That would be like, if I could pull that off, I would be the happiest woman.
And do you have any kind? You said you don't have any financial
funding.
support, so you have no sponsorship from
Nothing.
any other kind of organization.
Right now we have Para Paint works very close with us. They give us the paint and stuff, but I don't
Right.
get anything monetary. So
Right.
what we're doing is like, honestly, to be truthful with you, it's a blessing. I've just had a lot of people volunteer, like want to reach out and help, because
Right.
I'm kind of in people's face. Like, I like that people give me a pat on the shoulder and say it's a great thing I'm doing, but do something. I'm getting tired of the talk, you know, like.
Excellent.
Well,
help
there may be some people who are watching today who
There
are
will be.
in organizations who say, well, you know, I could take that on and support you
I would love that.
for Christmas funding, or, you know, as an ongoing sponsorship of this
That would be
program that you're
beautiful
doing.
if I
So
could find someone
yeah.
that's willing to help us out. Because honestly, the money that we would need for anything, we just want to, like, when we bring hairstylists in to cut hair and stuff, we just do a cut and style.
Right.
Like, we want to be able to offer color, or even give them something to go home with, or
Right.
with the paint, even do more with the painting,
Right.
as in bring in an artist to paint a wall or something.
And so where are these clients coming from that you have that you're supporting? Are they coming through particular shelters that you're involved with?
Yeah, I'm not involved with any shelter per se, but
Right.
in Vancouver I deal with Options and Atira. And in Toronto, we're actually painting on Sunday, March 30th. We're painting Eva's Phoenix, which is a youth shelter. And then I'm also working closely with the YWCA for the December 6th Fund.
Right.
So we're probably going to do a shelter in Toronto for YWCA as well. So I just kind of fish around. I look around, I see who needs it most, and where we can make the biggest difference. And then I bring in the artists. And
So this week is Friday, March the 28th. It's at Cornerstone, right at the corner of Ellesmere.
And what time does it start for
it
people?
starts at 9 p.m. and
Right.
we're also dropping the album with the artists that we've put together. And I've never done this before, so I'm kind of excited to get this album out.
Very
It's harder
exciting.
than it looks. Big up, Yellow.
Right.
I must end with this. What I like about your project is this is a project when you talk about children, and you talk about women. So
So you talk about age, and then you talk about gender. But your project transcends right across the board.
Right.
So we're not going to talk about just a certain segment of the population. It's everybody. We need your help. We know you want to get involved. Hugh Riley's involved. ThatChannel.com is here supporting and advertising your show. Getting great Canadian artists as David Record. Just came off a 32 city tour in UK. What else can you say? Sparks Downey. Check out the album. Check out the videos. Support you. Support us. We're in this city. Thank you so much, Miss Burning Bliss. Thank you so much for bringing the Project Phoenix. BC, we see you, we hear you. Nova Scotia is intercontinentals out to international. It's a great album. Thank you so much for your project, Miss Harry. Again, Scotian Sparks and David Record.
Unity, baby.
Yeah, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks,
Thank
Johnny, for
you.
bringing these guys on, and good luck with the events.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And Hugh, if I just may do a quick shout out, just want to shout out Father Chris in Jamaica, Portmore, you done know. Also, Hugh, hopefully we'll get the Maca Diamond interview, who's the world's hottest reggae star right now. Should be on Liquid Lunch. She's in Brampton, April 4th, so we'll work out the ins and outs of it. I also like to let you know, for me, I'm also doing some advocacy stuff too. We're working on some restorative justice, some media conflict mediation, and that's coming from a project from Rittenhouse. Shout out to Joan, shout out to Sarah, shout out to Molly. We're doing some stuff at St. Stephen's Community Center, where Johnny Smash actually works now as a conflict mediator. So I'm in my community. Check me out on Friday at Burning Bliss event. I'm in Niagara Falls on Thursday. Friday, again, I'm back at Burning Bliss. It's all about Burning Bliss right now. Phoenix Project, Liquid Lunch, I love you. Tune in.
Thanks, Johnny Smash.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys. Okay, we're going to take a break. Come back with Kim and Amy Sedgwick from the Red Tent Sisters right after this.
I'm Ribs, Marlon Brando, the rap Al Pacino, Richard Castellano, Godfather on the beat, so holy Toledo, go to woe for my people. Fit as I joined at my hip, I'm bare, bed Benito. She totally a freak though, plus shag for my miso. Soup yo, never pairing with Detective Drupo. Oh, so popular, yep, she called me D'Amico. Trying to see her at home up in Rome, in my beach home. It's no second guessing, Toronto we met in. Her family from Naples, mine is own, born of Preston, still we got to meshing. She asking me questions, how she heard through the grapevine I was brandishing weapons, don't watch that. Them things is all in the past. The henchmen out, they just following the rest. The Ren Shen range like the mountain Laurentians. We unlocking our unique powers just like we been 10. We live life like some 50s movie stars. They know who we are. Me and Ingebar buying shots for air, one in the bar, Henny in the jar, trying to finish ours. Some too tipsy that put us up in the car. Ain't got go too far, but send my chauffeur by. Scoop me and my Cinderella cutie pie. Love my super tie, I'm a groupie. Hip hop's Frank Lucas, the rhyme Bumpy Johnson. She Marilyn Monroe on my arm in Wisconsin. We saw live, drove by, puffing the Roche High. Hella dapper diddy while I'm sporting the bow tie. Game on, feel like the mulatto James Bond. My Prada's bang on, my motto's rhyme on. She hella proud of that. The girls tried to climb on, but she ain't having none of that. She put my time on. I spent $100 grand on the island romance. Dying in while we listening to the 5-piece band. Looking in Chica's eyes while she holding my hand. Holding it down some fierce like T. Scotian I am. I do this for you, lady. Put you in the new Sadie so you can sip sake and the blue cheese bukkake. Burgers, you could get away with straight murder. Can't you see I'm trying to feed you, baby, like Gerber? We live life like some 50s movie stars. They know who we are. Me and Ingebar buying shots for air, one in the bar, Henny in the jar, trying to finish ours. Too tipsy to put us up in the car. Ain't got go too far, but send my chauffeur by. Scoop me in my Cinderella cutie pie. Love my super tie, I'm a groupie. I'm so the Black Ken. Don't let that fax by dude. Was born on the bayou, throwing fireballs like Bayou. Sugar cane prima donna. Need to see ya manana. Yeah, Anna Courtney love her Kurt Cobain, be Nirvana. I treat her how she wanna. Lime in her Corona. Got love for her background, even though it ain't my genre. Since back in the grade, had to thank for Adriana. She from PK and she is you crazy. Columbia, Chiquita banana. My peace of mind and savior. Shake what mama gave you by nature. Got Macacia from Senegal. This a help to Samal. Scotia, Costa Nostra, giving help to the mall. 5 families, and we calling the shots from the range to the blocks. Ain't playing with the cops. Just saying no time for lane with the flops. She trying to give me brains like her name's Mrs. Sparks. We live life like some 50s movie stars. They know who we are. Me and Ingebar bar, buying shots for everyone in the bar. Henny in the jar, I'm trying to finish our. Too tipsy to put us up in the car. It could go too far, but send my chauffeur by. Scoop me in my Cinderella cutie pie. Love my suit and tie, I'm a groupie. We live life like some 50s movie stars. They know who we are, me and in the bar. Buying shots for everyone in the bar. Henny in the jar, I'm trying to finish ours. I'm too tipsy to put us up in the car. Think I go too far, but send my chauffeur by. Scoop me in my Cinderella cutie pie. Love my suit and tie, I'm a groupie.
And we're back here on the show, and we've got Kim and Amy Sedgwick joining us. They've been on the show before, and today we're talking about menstruation. So I'm just gonna.
You're going to back off?
I'm gonna turn it over to the women here because it's about menstruation and more, right, Gail?
And more. Oh yes, lots of eco sex and eco contraception.
That's right.
So tell us about that.
Well, I'll let Amy talk about eco-contraception. That's her area of expertise.
Yeah, so I teach a method of natural birth control called the Justice method of fertility management. It's an all-Canadian approach to natural birth control that's over 99% effective. It's based on education. So the program that I run is about 6 months long. That's about how long it usually takes a woman to get comfortable and confident with the skills that she needs in order to specifically identify exactly when she's fertile or not. And then she can use that to either abstain during those times or use alternate methods of contraception during that time. And it's really important to Kim and I that women move away from hormonal birth control and from synthetic hormones in the environment altogether, which is another aspect of our work. But there's just so many side effects of hormonal birth control on women's long-term health and fertility that we're very concerned about.
We've both been on the pill, and
Yes.
both have had serious side effects. I mean, that's how we started our business, was Amy discovering the effect of hormonal birth control in her breastfeeding.
Yeah. So I had a horrible experience where one of the side effects was that my newborn daughter was actually choking while I was trying to breastfeed her because synthetic progesterone can increase your milk supply. And so she was literally choking while she was trying to breastfeed. And so I was forced to find a natural method of birth control, even though I had taken the birth control pill for almost 10 years.
Yeah, and I was on the pill for almost 10 years myself, and for me it had a horrible effect on my mood. I would end up on an antidepressant, and we've certainly had a number of women come in and say that they've had that experience as well. They talk about the pill making them crazy. If you Google, the pill makes me crazy, it's the top hit. Like it's something that a lot of women experience, and there's been a lot of research linking the two problems together.
So now looking at, the difference between taking the pill and using this Justice method, there's quite a lot of work, I'm going to call it work, required by the woman in order to follow this method.
Yes.
What do you find are the common fears from women when they think about switching from something that's so well known as being so effective at preventing pregnancy compared to this kind of radical leading edge system that you're suggesting that women move to?
I think that you hit on the main thing, which is that women are afraid that they don't have the capacity to actually understand their bodies or to do what's needed in order to make this method work for them.
Right.
And the two key things there is that a woman needs proper education, so she needs somebody who's actually going to teach her and walk her through it and support her and check to make sure she's doing it accurately. It's not the kind of thing that you want to be trying to learn on your own.
Right.
So that's the major
Because one
thing.
mistake could get you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
right?
it can.
That's the whole point.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, but once you learn how to do it right, then, as I said, the research shows that it's over 99% effective once you actually get the skills down. But the other part is just that we are kind of taught not to trust our bodies, not to trust ourselves, not to pay attention to what's happening down there. And so a lot of it is just kind of moving through that fear and shame that we have really come to accept just from cultural messaging.
Just kind of more educating women and giving them permission to, in a sense, get really familiar with this body that they're walking around on Earth with.
To reconnect,
Right?
because I think there's a real sense with the birth control pill, but also with menstruation, this separation. It's that experts tell us how we're supposed to deal with these things, but also that we don't even want to look at it. I mean, I know that's a big thing around menstruation, is it's like tampons and things you can throw in the garbage, that women don't actually want to look at their menstrual fluid in the same way they don't want to be connected to their body, understand cervical mucus. It's just this disconnection from your body, and I think that's really at the heart of our business just trying to help women feel that connection again.
So how do you help women who are considering using this kind of method? You know, a lot of the women that I'm working with right now, they're stressed out. They have a lot of things on their plate. They're dealing with multiple family issues. They're working, trying to stay healthy. And now this particular method is basically going to put more of an effort on them in getting connected. So how do you deal with that kind of resistance? Do you experience that resistance with women?
Yeah, absolutely. The main way is just that I've created a program that I try to make it as simple for people as possible. So I have recorded myself teaching the basic principles of the method so women can listen to it like literally on their iPod while they're at the gym. And then we have multiple different touch points throughout the month to provide support. So by email and by teleconference call and private sessions that I can do by Skype. So trying to make it as easy as possible to fit into someone's lifestyle. And once they've done the 6-month program, I mean, as you said, there is some work involved, but it's really, once you learn the skills, it should take no more than 5 minutes per day.
Right.
So it's really not a huge investment of time, given all of the positive things that come out of it. So one of the things, you know, you mentioned are stressed out lifestyles. Well, one of the things that women, you know, share with me is one of the most positive aspects of learning this method is that aside from the birth control, you actually become so much more attuned to your body's natural rhythms. Like women have these ups and downs, as we know. I mean, we joke about premenstrual symptoms and all of that kind of thing, but literally there are huge fluctuations in women's hormones over the course of the cycle. And when we can understand exactly what's happening to our body and when, and we can anticipate it, we can learn to kind of live in flow with that. So one of the things that I teach my clients to do is, you know, when you're scheduling your social events or your work, like give some thought to your cycle, because there are certain times of your cycle when you're going to really feel like going out and partying, and other times of your cycle when you actually just really need to hibernate. And so when women start to live in sync with those natural hormonal fluctuations, life actually feels a lot less stressful.
Right, right. So, and then talking about hormonal fluctuations, right? You're talking about, you know, when they're going to have sex. How do you find that women come to your program? Do they come on their own? Do you do a group program? Because a lot of work that I do, I love to create community with women. Do you have a community of women so that if, for example, someone on our show wants to contact you and say, you know, I feel kind of awkward doing this on my own, can I bring my sister or my best friend so that we can talk together and we both experiencing it the same? Do you have an option like that for women?
We do. The primary way that I deliver the program is through this 6-month eco-contraception program, and it has a combination of group and private elements. So for the exact reason that you just mentioned of women kind of wanting to share experiences and wisdom and feel connected to others who are on this journey, we have a number of group components. So we do 3 group Q&A telecalls per month, so everyone can be on the call together, they can all hear each other and share their stories. And we have a Facebook group so people interact on that,
so they can
share
connect
resources.
And
but then they also get their private sessions with me, and that's where I sit down and really go over their skills and make sure that they're doing everything correctly. So they do get what they need in order to make the method effective, but they also get all these other things to just create that sense of community.
So going back to the hormonal fluctuations on a month to month, do you find that actually enhances a couple's sex life?
Yes, and in some ways that were really unexpected. When I first learned the method, before I was teaching it, I was really shocked that by abstaining from vaginal intercourse during my fertile days, which is usually for the average woman about 5 to 7 days out of her entire cycle, I was really kind of forced to get away from that like penis vagina idea that that's the only way of having sex. And it had some really positive effects on my sex life. You know, my husband and I were like exploring all these other things, and I was realizing that, hey, there's actually a whole bunch of other things that I like way more.
Well, and it sounds like you're building intimacy with yourself. And I'm a self-love expert. So here you're building intimacy with yourself, and then that in turn is going to overflow into the relationship with your partner.
Absolutely.
And just one other thing for the audience to realize is that it seems like this is for a a couple who are in a serious committed relationship, because there's no protection from STIs
yeah.
using this process, right?
That said, I do have a lot of clients who are not in serious monogamous relationships who use this method as an adjunct to their practice with condoms. And one of the ways that it can be used is, you know, if condoms break, for example, then if you know where you are in your cycle, you know what kind of risk you're at for actual unplanned pregnancy, and whether you want to take the emergency contraceptive pill or any of that. Or a number of my clients use it as a double measure. So, you know, they'll use condoms plus this method, you know, throughout the cycle, and then they might just abstain during their fertile days as well, like completely from vaginal intercourse.
Right.
So,
and do you find then, in terms of the whole thought process out there by women about their libido, right? So then knowing their hormonal levels and knowing what's happening with their body, do they find that they're much more in touch with their libido?
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly, you know, one of the side effects of the birth control pill is that it can actually dampen your libido. So,
Which I think is kind of ironic.
Yeah.
It's not particularly helpful if you don't actually want to be having sex.
Yeah.
Right.
So not being on hormonal birth control is helpful for your libido in that way, but also women do find that when they track their cycles, they notice that there are times of the cycle when they tend to have a higher libido than other times, or certain times of the cycle when they want a certain type of sex versus another type of sex. It might be like more emotionally intimate at one time of the cycle, and more physically rigorous during another time of the cycle.
Must help women to communicate with their partners in terms of how they're feeling and what's going on for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that you have a course online for building confidence around intimacy and sexuality between men and women. Do you find that your clients tend to then move into taking additional courses with you and moving into that course? And how does it work for the men? We'll bring you in here too, don't worry.
I'll try to participate to the best of my ability.
Yeah. Do you have men? So you have because I saw that you have a course for men on your website,
we do.
right?
Yeah, I'll let Kim answer that.
Yeah. Are we going to have a break soon, or what are we doing?
Well, we're talking with the girl.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure we were online with the technical
Well,
team.
I was just thinking in terms of what Amy mentioned around the alternative sexual practices, I would think we really live in a society that puts so much focus on intercourse. A lot of people think sex and intercourse, that they're sort of synonymous. And so the course really tries to take the focus off of intercourse, which is really helpful for the people taking Amy's course. So looking at things like manual stimulation, oral play, anal play, those sorts of things that can be used during those fertile times.
Right. Right. So you're still participating in a sexual relationship with your partner, but there's no fear of pregnancy coming along. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, we do have the course for both men and women, and oftentimes people will buy it as a gift for their partner. We do certainly get more women signing up, but I've noticed that since we moved the course online, because we used to run them in person, that I think men are more comfortable when the format is online. I think they're less comfortable in a group format. Women tend to like to go with friends. You're mentioning, signing up with a friend for these programs. I mean, women tend to be more social and like doing these sorts of things together. So I think now that it's online, it's more appealing to a lot of men.
And it's an easy access for men to take at their leisure, right?
Exactly.
And I don't think men kind of talk about that kind of stuff with other men.
No.
Do they, Hugh?
No, we don't.
So now I see you've brought a couple of things there.
Yeah, some props.
Yes.
Can we
right?
talk
What are
about,
these props?
Can we talk about those
Yes, we
now?
can definitely talk about some of these. So, as Amy mentioned, we're talking a lot about the hormones, and we're very concerned about what we're putting on our body. And there's a personal story behind that, which is their mother had breast cancer, and it got us very, very interested in all of the exposure that we have to phthalates and other endocrine disruptors, so things that are disrupting the hormonal balance of our bodies. So, from Amy's perspective, looking a lot at the birth control, and then when we were talking about sex toys, when we first opened the store, because we had a storefront for 5 years before we moved online, we had all these demos, and we're taking the toys out of their boxes, and I turned to Amy and I was like, there's a really funky smell coming off of these toys. Like, this is not a sexy smell. And so we started doing research and realized that most sex toys are made out of jelly. And jelly is that really soft material, and to get it that soft, they add a chemical called phthalates. And phthalates have been linked to all kinds of health concerns, including cancer. So it became very, very important to us to only carry products that were body safe, so ones that are not linked to those exposures. So one of our favorite materials, silicone, non-porous, also very easy to clean because we're worried about bacteria, especially if you're going to be sharing toys with anyone or just in general that you want something that's very easy to clean. Because again, with the chemicals, oftentimes they'll sell these cleaners to clean toys. The cleaner's full of chemicals, so you're adding chemicals to chemicals, and that's a bad combination. So that's the backstory, and then the fun stuff. So toy like this, we really love versatile toys, the reason being that there's a lot more ways to experiment. So especially for someone who's new to toys, I can hold it up a little higher there so people can see. All right, zoom in on that fun one. So this is the Gigi. This is a personal favorite. So the reason I like the Gigi, it's got a perfect curve for G-spot, that come hither motion. You can do broad clitoral stimulation there, or you can also do more focused with the edge there. And it's got 5 different speeds and then 5 different modes of vibration. So you basically have 25 different combinations.
Right.
So fairly likely you're going to find something that you like.
It's nice and small.
It's nice and small, and I think for a lot of people that they're used to seeing novelty toys, the toys that are sold in those sex shops that are sold for, bachelorette and bachelor parties, these massive dildo things. And I think a lot of people, that's not necessarily what they're looking for. So I think that the fact that this is a non-phallic shape is actually quite appealing. This is probably one of our most popular toys, especially for men to be purchasing for women, because again, I think just they don't necessarily want one of those huge toys. Now that said, speaking of huge,
it looks like it's a perfect starter.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
There's the classic Hitachi Magic wand here.
Now we're looking at something completely different size.
Something completely different. This is the one that was featured on Sex and the City. I think it was Samantha who bought this one. I kind of say this has got like high and higher. There's really no low setting on this. It actually doubles as a back massager, which is how it's marketed for people who are sort of nervous about sex toys.
And I think if I remember rightly, that's how that started. We decades and decades ago. That it started with a massager.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And then women said, "Oh, this works really well." Cool.
Yeah, and I know this is the one that Betty Dodson and a whole bunch of other sex therapists recommend for women who have difficulty achieving orgasm, which is quite a lot of women.
Yes, I understand that.
Yes. They suggest around like 70% of women can't orgasm from intercourse alone. Again, getting back to this idea that intercourse is sort of the only way to stimulate someone.
Right, right. And do you find that selling online, as a consumer, not being able to come in to a store and actually talk to somebody, I mean, that in itself is for many people a deterrent to come into a store. So, selling online, how do you find that in terms of success? Do people email you first? Do they have questions? Do they just order things? Like, what do you get feedback from your clients?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, I think part of it is that we did have the storefront for so long, so we sort of established ourselves that way. And then people have come to trust our website, certainly in terms of the materials that we sell, knowing that everything we sell is body friendly, I think is really important. And that also we've tested everything. So we're not selling junky products that don't work, that are going to die really quickly. We sell products that we really stand behind.
Right.
And we are really picky about what we carry. So I think we've got that credibility. But in terms of trying to figure out what people like, we do our best during, you've got instructional videos and stuff on our website so people can get a sense of the products.
Right.
And then we do, certainly if someone wants to call, I'm more than happy to chat. Once you get me on the phone talking about sex toys, I can talk all day long, as you can probably tell. So we certainly have that option.
And you have a blog on your site,
right?
We do,
yeah.
So people can read that and get a little bit more information.
Yeah, and we have a new YouTube channel as well. As Kim mentioned, we have some toy reviews, and she's written a number of blog posts and videos about how to choose a toy in certain different categories.
So tell our audience again, so what is your website so that they can, that's how they can get in touch with you. How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so we've got red10sisters.com, and that's where the blog is, and that's where Amy's program information is, and there's a really fabulous video that Amy did really explaining about the method, so that we'd highly recommend. And then in terms of the toys and other products, that's on ecosex.ca. Don't go to .com, it's a very different website.
Ecosex.ca.
Ecosex.ca. And then the YouTube channel is just Red 10 Sisters. So if you go on YouTube, you'll find us there.
Okay, do we have more time to look at more things?
Well, you got more things?
Yeah,
I see you brought some fruit over there.
Over there. Show us.
Well,
and tell us about.
It's always difficult for me to talk about the method I teach in terms of visuals because it's usually not appropriate for me to pull out some cervical mucus to show people, which is one of the ways that you tell
It's okay on this
what's
show.
fertile.
It's okay.
We should have done that, or temperature. But the one thing I can explain is that one of the things that you can do to kind of understand your fertility is actually to check the position of your uterus. So a woman's uterus will sit in a certain position, and then as she approaches ovulation, it actually lifts up, and the cervix itself becomes soft, and the little hole here, which is called the os, starts to open. So a woman can actually feel this doing a cervical self-examination with her index finger. And so this can tell you a lot about your fertility. So I like these little demos. So this is the size size, shape, and weight of a regular uterus.
Right.
This is the size, shape, and weight of a uterus when a woman's about to start menstruating. So you can see it's significantly larger and
So
heavier.
most women would be completely oblivious to that information.
Yes.
Yeah, we are not taught
Speaking
that in
from
school.
personal experience here,
Yeah.
I have no idea about that.
Yeah.
So it's really an education
It is.
that you're providing.
Yeah, almost all of my clients, I'm just saying, this is information that I feel like I should have learned in junior high health class,
Right.
but didn't. you know?
Right. Yeah,
Well,
and
even you went to school for occupational therapy. You did all kinds of
I
physiology.
took a physiology course. Yeah, I never learned any of this.
Well, I heard they're going to start teaching all this in kindergarten now.
Well, really, thinking about teenage girls, I mean, this is an incredible education. I have two daughters, 16 and 18, and for them to become so much more in tune with their bodies is just a gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
That really, we all should have that. We should all have this.
Well, we recently had the opportunity to talk to a young group of girls who are, I guess, all around sort of 15, 16, 17, and they were so thirsty for this information. They were just so excited to learn about their fertility and learn about different menstrual products. And so I think if we give women the opportunity, they could be far more in touch with their body from a young age.
Yeah, wouldn't it be so exciting if young women were making really empowered, educated choices about, their fertility, their sexuality. Yeah.
Well, you've given us a lot to think about in this show today. Fabulous. Thank you so much for
thank
coming
you for
in and
having
sharing
us.
all of this. A lot to offer. A lot to offer, eh?
I'll say.
You've learned, haven't you?
I've learned a lot. So thanks, guys, for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll put up, it's ecosex.ca, redtentsisters.com. And so we're going to take a little break now and come back with, I don't know who's coming up next, either Jeanette Burke or Jasmine Starchild, but Liquid Lunch will continue. We'll be right back.
Welcome to my landing page. Are you a businesswoman owner who is working too hard for too many hours for too little money? Despairing over not filling your programs or client rosters? Seeming like a small fish in a small pond and don't have a clue how to change any of it? I'm Jeanette Burke, your marketing magnet, fempreneur marketing mentor, speaker, author, and host of I'm Every Woman TV. For over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of small business owners, professionals, sales agents, coaches, consultants, speakers, authors, marketing directors, CEOs, TV radio hosts, politicians, and celebrities like you and me transform from marketing novices into marketing magnets using the magnetic marketing process, my unique and complete marketing mentoring system. It's your turn to lead and succeed as a fempreneur on your terms with less effort and more profit. So please scroll down to the sign up form for my e-zine, the Magnetic Marketing Memoirs, to apply for my valuable articles, videos, and advice on how to stop struggling to attract ideal clients and build a business and life you love at your fingertips. It's worth $300 and it's yours as my gift. All you need to do is click on the tab that says enter my website for more great info on what's holding you back and how you can move forward working with me. See you on the homepage.
Right. Well, we're back on the show here, and we have Jeanette Burke joining us, host of I'm Every Woman TV. And Jeanette used to be my co-host here on Liquid Lunch.
Go, Jeanette.
So great to be back.
It's
Thank you.
great to have you on the show, Jeanette. And also, because of you, we have Gail as my co-host here today. So
Thank you.
It's a Jeanette Burke love fest.
Well, thank you. I think I could use that.
Yeah, and I was on your show not too long ago, and I had a really good experience.
Thank you. Yes, good
thanks
interview.
for having me on. And
You're welcome. We had really good feedback on that interview.
Really?
Yeah, you're a rock star now.
Oh, awesome.
A television star.
So, well, I'm not the only one in the room because you're here, and I know you. Now, you haven't been doing TV forever. You are the founder of Primetime PR, right?
Well, yeah, that's the past, though.
I know, but
I have been doing TV for almost 5 years now. When you take the 18 months I worked with you, and the November 28th, 2011, I started I'm Every Woman TV, and now we're in our 3rd season with our next episode on Wednesday.
Right. So,
So
but
it's been consistent.
and you, but you did this for a reason, right? Like you're
I
not
did
just
do
on
this for
TV to be on TV.
No.
Right? You've got a real passion and a real motivation for doing this.
So I'll share that with you then, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, I was a publicist in my former life with Primetime PR that I ran for 17 years. And then I start mentoring women under the name Jeanette Burke, Your Marketing Magnet. So I was mentoring, doing marketing mentoring for women entrepreneurs. And the reason that I started the show really is that I've seen women go through a lot, and I think that it's even more so in the last few years. When I say a lot, I'm talking illness. As myself, I've had quite a bit of illness, and I see women suffering all the time, and I think it's because they get such mixed messages about their role in society today, and who they're supposed to be and who they're not supposed to be, and how to balance everything out, and it becomes very difficult for a lot of women when, to the point where I think maybe they're starting to feel bad about themselves, or they're starting to compare themselves to what they think a successful woman should be defined as, and should be earning a certain amount of money, a 6-figure plus income, to be considered successful, which I don't necessarily agree with. And just to have the whole balancing act. And I think that there isn't a lot of places women can go to have like an open forum to discuss all the issues that affect a woman's life, either personally or professionally. And the truth is, if an issue is popping up in the business side, it's going to affect the personal side, and vice versa. There isn't a lot of that. There's a lot of TV for women, but most TV for women are not taking a perspective or an investigative approach to these issues. So I wanted to basically create a show that gave rise to women's issues and celebrated women's contributions to society, and talked openly about all these issues that affect a woman's life. And hence I called it I'm Every Woman, because I believe that at the core, regardless of race, religion, background, education, we women, we deal with the same core issues all the time. So really that's what the show is about. It's about giving rise to these issues through my guests, who I bring in to offer a particular expertise on a particular woman's issue. And then the idea is that the audience will have a takeaway, whether it's a change of action, some kind of a tool, a practice, an insight, anything that will give them the muster and the courage they need to carry on and keep going and stay out of the suck hole and keep producing. So that's what it's all about.
Wow. So that's a noble cause. And I, when I see commercial TV out there, I see really I make this point around here a lot, but the whole point is really to exploit the audience. Even, because you're selling the audience to the commercial interests who are buying the time to run their ads on those shows, right? And it seems to me what you're doing here is you're not about exploiting the audience. You're really about serving the audience by getting,
Yes.
bringing these issues and having a real conversation about them.
Yes, and I'm not only serving the audience, although, that's a big part of it, because I do have a very large viewing audience, and I'm happy that I was able to build it up that way. And of course I want to protect them, and I don't want them to be sold. I don't want an infomercial for the guests to come on and give an infomercial. I want tangible information, a story, and then we do the promotion. But I'm also helping the guests, because the guests are predominantly women entrepreneurs who either have, not always entrepreneurs, just, they have a product, a service, a cause, something that they want to talk about. And I'm trying to help them too, because in order for them to really convey their message positively and have an impact on the audience, they have to present themselves in a certain way, and they have to be able to relay that message and get at that message. And so I think another service I'm providing, which I think makes me a bit different, is that I'm bringing to the table my whole arsenal of PR skills and marketing skills, and I'm incorporating that into the whole package that women and some men, because we have some men, including yourself, we had on that take advantage of that and can really appreciate the value of that to helping them have a proper, I guess, package, brand, image to share and to impart.
And that's really important these days because, of course, the whole marketing landscape is changing with the internet, with social media. You got to know your SEO, you know, you got to use video. And your video, to me, needs to be any videos that you do. You need to have video, first of all, because that's how...
Without a doubt.
That's how you start to build and maintain the relationship with your customers. But you need to take that video and put it in a social media marketing context.
Right. So are you saying, Jeanette, then, that what you do is you offer to people who want to come on your show the opportunity to work with you? Obviously, it sounds like from the experience and expertise that you have, that any woman out there who would want to be on your show as an expert would also have access to working individually with you to be able to know what it means to be successful being a presenter or an expert on a TV show like yours. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. And it's the... I would say that being on my show is kind of the icing on the cake. The actual interview is an icing on a cake that would come after I've already taken a considerable amount of time to prepare you for the camera, to hone your presentation skills, to help you perfect your image and convey the right message so that your audience, you're positioning yourself and you're branding yourself and packaging yourself in a way where you are being taken as the credible expert that you want to be.
Right.
And of course, wherever it leads from there, it can lead from there. But I think a very good depiction of what I'm trying to do is, you know, it's one part publicity, it's one part media, it's one part promotion, it's one part coaching. It's kind of all fused together in a very unique sort of way, and it does have a purpose behind it, very specific.
So what are the demographics of the women that are watching your show? Why would somebody tune in to watch your show? How would you know that they were the ideal person who would want to watch your show?
Well, our demographics show us that the show's greatest appeal is to women 35 to 55, predominantly decision makers, household buyers, high education, professional, high income earners. And I think that the real reason that they turn into the show, other than what the show's about and the type of guests and content that we feature, because it's really about content marketing. That's really what it is. I think that we also have a lot of fun on my show, and we have some really unique segments, such as it's very girly. The show is very aimed at women, so I made a conscious choice to create a set that I actually was very instrumental in having it come together through my vision of creating a very feminine set. And I think that the topics and the segments that we have, the concurring segments such as Tea Talk in the Parlor, which is our opening segment where we pursue hot topics and gossip and other things that women like. We invite women to come, take some time for yourself, grab a tea, join us, come in on this conversation, and then, of course, we move on to the guests and the content. So I think that's one of the reasons. I think another reason is that we have a concurring segment, which I started even when I was part of Liquid Lunch, which is the show, was a segment for women entrepreneurs we call it Magnetic Women in Business, and we cover issues just for women in business, usually on each episode. We encourage other things in our show, a segment called Dare to Dream, which we invite the guests to do something daring that they've always wanted to do. So I would say that the people who are watching my show are doing so because they're visionaries like me, and they want in their own life what I am attempting to create for them as well.
Right.
And they want that forum, they want the community, and they want the support.
Right. Cool.
Great. So now I know you put a lot of work into your show, and you're doing it this week, right? So,
Yeah, Wednesday.
I know you're really working hard on this, and I don't even know how you could find the time to come here today, but thanks for doing that. But who's coming on the show this week, just as an example?
Yes, okay, so this week I'm actually very excited about this particular episode. So it's on Wednesday, March 26, 2 p.m. is our airtime. I air on XS Network, which is X like Xerox, S like Sam, xsnetwork.com. This week we have the first segment is Women in Finance, which is sort of, we've been doing a concurring segment on that, and it's really various aspects to women in finance. So we have Stacey He coming back. She's a financial planner just for busy career women, and we're doing something really unique, which is something I sort of brainchild of mine that I thought was. Well, it's all about how we all get to the mall. You know, us women, we love to pamper ourselves, and you know, we're working very hard. And we get to the mall, and you know, we're getting the hair done, the nails done, we're buying things, we're having lunch with the girlfriends, and quite often we're just like whipping that Visa card out like nobody's business, and really not paying attention to it until the monthly statement arrives, and it's like, oh God, what am I supposed to do now, right? So
You
we're
should
gonna
just do what I do, Jeanette. Just don't
talk
open the
about that.
mail. Don't open the mail.
Well, I believe you just had a segment on with two ladies from the Red Tent Sisters, which was all about, you know, menstruation. And I made a joke, and I said, you know, that Visa bill, it arrives just like my period every month. And sometimes, you know, it is a shock. So, and I don't think that I'm the only woman who has a bit of a spending issue or a pampering issue, and we're just going to talk about how easy it is to get into that and what it really means for you, and in a segment called What Your Trip to the Mall is Really Costing You. So we're going to talk about that, and then we have another woman coming in by the name of Lorraine Wegman of Wegman Consulting, and she's a person who deals with training individuals to really appreciate and accept each other in both a corporate environment and even a marriage, and to really explore and examine a strength and a weakness in two personalities and how they can unite to really make a really powerful dynamic, whether in a company or in a marriage. So I guess you could say she's a bit of a conflict management specialist and a team builder. And she's going to come in and talk about, you know, why people have trouble communicating with their partners and their business partners, and how they also have trouble respecting each other, understanding each other, and what can be done about it, so that there's less conflict and more ease and more joy in the life, and
which is what women want,
and
less conflict, more ease, more joy.
Yes, and to be heard and respected and appreciated, so that we're going to get into that. And then we round out, well, we also have the tea talk, and it's kind of a cool thing. We're doing a political aspect on that this time, because, you know, this is the first time ever that there's 5 female candidates running to be mayor of Toronto and take Rob Ford down. You know, so we've got that also, and then we also have Lynn Kaplan is a divorce doula, and she's a family arbitrator and family mediator, and she really specializes in helping women who are going through divorce and breakup to deal with their emotions, to know how to handle things when they're forced to deal with lawyers and accountants and, you know,
all that stuff.
Legal speak and all the things that you don't know how to do, or even things like, you know, suddenly you're a single parent. What's that like? And you're losing maybe friends or family members, and how do you cope with that? So we're going to have her in to talk to women about that and basically help them manage their emotions around it, and get some like how-to on how to handle, you know, deal with accountants, lawyers, and what have you, and most importantly, know how to ask for what you want and really get it. So I think that's going to be an amazing show.
So you're covering, 3 major areas that women need to know about: their emotions, their relationships, and their finances.
And that's just one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right?
this is
Wow.
one episode. This will give you an example of the type of thought that goes into the show. I do a lot of research to bring in guests. I'm committed to covering various topics for women and women entrepreneurs, and each show is quite planned out.
Yeah, I know.
So if someone's
And
watching,
promoted well
if someone's watching, Jeanette, and they
Yes.
want to contact you because they want to be part of your show, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, the best way to get in touch with me is to either email or call me, and there is a bit of an audition process to come on the show because, as I mentioned at the onset of the segment, we do things differently and we're incorporating other aspects, so we need to talk about that.
But then they get to work with you.
Yes, they get to work with me. So the best way to reach me is to email me at Jeanette, which is spelled JANETTE at yourmarketingmagnet.com.
Okay.
And or call me at 905-882-6893.
And what is your website? Is there a website for the TV show, or how do
it's
they?
amalgamated at the moment.
So how do they find your website?
My website is www.yourmarketingmagnet.com. When you go into the site, on the home page, there's a little bit to the left is videos about the coaching, and then there's a whole bar section about the show with previous broadcasts. We also have social media tabs right above, and one of them is to my YouTube channel that has the playlist.
Right. So
all
you
ready
can
to
watch
go.
the other shows.
Yes, previous broadcasts.
And if you can't watch the live show, how can they watch it afterwards?
So we do repeat in podcast, and we repeat the show. We post it over and over and over again until our next
Right.
taping.
Right.
They can watch that 2 ways. Either by going to my page on the XS Network, which is at XS, like X, like an X, like Xerox, S, like Sam together, network.com, and see the show page under I'm Every Woman TV. Or they can go right back to my website and log on to my YouTube channel, or my Vimeo channel, or my 22 Social, or my iTunes, and catch it all there. I also post a lot: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Lots of ways to watch the show.
Lots of ways to watch the show.
That's awesome, Jeanette. So I want to thank you for coming on today, because I know you got a busy week because you're getting ready for the show. But I had a great time when I was on, and
thank you.
And like I said, if it wasn't for the show, then Gail wouldn't have been here today.
And here I am, thanks to Jeanette.
And that's the beauty of giveaways.
And there's
connecting
lots of
people.
wonderful. Yeah, you have lots of wonderful giveaways on your show as well. That's another
this time
reason.
We're gonna have some more. So
Another reason to
tune
watch
in.
live.
Yeah. Tune in and get, you can only claim giveaways live. That's a good point.
Yeah.
You have to be watching the live broadcast and contact me to claim the giveaway, so you can't get those in repeat podcasts. But yes, we have amazing giveaways.
I wanted all 3 giveaways on the show
and I
that
had
you
to-
were on.
I
I know
had
she
to-
had to cut me off. I said, okay,
I had to
give me
make
the
you
interview
prioritize
part.
the one you really
Yes.
wanted. But I want to thank you so much for having me here today. It's been a real pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be working with you, Hugh, or talking with you. And I was happy also to have you on my show. I think you did a very good job, and hopefully we'll continue to be comrades.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, Jenna, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a little break now, and we're going to come back with our last guest of the day, ordained priestess Jasmine Starchild. We'll be right back.
I'm Kim Sedgwick of Red 10 Sisters and ecosex.ca. Today I'm sharing some sexy holiday gift ideas for her. For any of you who've taken some of my courses or followed our blog, you know that I'm a little bit obsessed with a particular toy called the Lelo Gigi, which is this toy right here. So this is my top choice for a gift for her for the holidays for a few reasons. One, that it's very, very versatile. So it's a great choice for beginners, so someone who maybe doesn't know a lot about what they like in terms of sex toys, but also works very well for someone who has quite the collection already because it's got some unique features. So some of the reasons why I like this toy is that you can use it for broad clitoral stimulation this way, or more focused stimulation with the edge. It also has a perfect G-spot curve. The control panel is here, and it has 5 different settings, so 5 different types of vibration, and then with each type of vibration, you increase the intensity, moving it up or down. So with 5 different modes and 5 different speeds, you have 25 different combinations. It's also nice and quiet, so I'll turn it on for you here. So as you can see, nice and quiet, so it's a great choice in terms of if you've got kids at home or roommates and you don't necessarily want everyone knowing what you're doing. Another reason why I like this toy for a gift is that it comes in a nice box. It's pretty simple and discreet, no tacky packaging, and it even comes with this cute little silk pouch that you can put it in. So that's our top recommendation for a holiday gift idea for her. In terms of other popular toys, we have an updated version of the Rabbit, which you may remember from Sex and the City. It's the toy that Charlotte became so obsessed with that she didn't want to leave her house. And for good reason, I have to agree with her. I call this my lazy vibrator if I want to get off in about 35 seconds flat. This is my go-to option. So the reason why it's so popular is that unlike the Gigi, where you can do internal or external stimulation, but not at the same time, this one allows you to do both. So I'll turn it on for you here. So now you can see the top is moving, and now the little clitoral stimulator is going as well. So you've got internal and external stimulation at the same time. And again, you have multiple options to change the kind of vibration and also the intensity. So this is a really great option for someone who likes both internal and external stimulation at the same time. So that's the Levitt. If you want something that's a little smaller, this is another toy made by Layla, the same company who made the Gigi, the first toy that I showed you. So this one is neat for a couple reasons. One is a very, very discreet, nice and small. You can just throw this in your purse. And I think it's kind of cute that it actually charges on the USB port of your computer. I love thinking about a whole bunch of people in a corporate office in their little cubicles charging up their vibrators. So yeah, really great in terms of being discreet. This is a great clitoral stimulator because again has multiple speeds and settings. It's the plus and minus button here, changes the intensity. So this is the Lelo Mia. Another toy that's kind of similar that would be a great option to throw into a stocking because it's under $30, so great stocking stuffer, is this one here. It's made by Rock Soft and again has multiple speeds. It's got low, medium, and high, so you're just changing it with the button at the bottom here, and again fairly quiet, and you just hold it to turn it off. So that's another great option in terms of a clitoral stimulator. And last but not least, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Hitachi Magic Wand. Now, so it's a classic vibrator. It's been around for over 30 years, recommended by lots and lots of sex experts. It's a great option for women who have difficulty achieving orgasm, because it's very, very strong, and it doubles as a back massager. So versatile again. So this one here, not necessarily as sexy and pretty as some of the other options that I've showed you, but very, very effective. I joke that it basically has high and higher. So that's the low setting, and then that's the high setting. But as I said, I pretty much find it high and higher. There's really no low setting on here. It's got a very, very large surface area, so it gets a lot of different types of stimulation. And as I said, it can also be used as a back massager if you're stressed out. So that's another great option if you're looking for a toy for your partner or for a friend. So those are some of our recommendations for sex toys for her for the holiday season. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Bye.
Back here on the show, and we have ordained priestess Jasmine Starchild here joining us, and that's just sounds great. Let's dive into all that.
Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm a shamanic priestess, so what that means is that I've taken vows and initiations to serve the divine, more specifically the essence of the goddess, which is the divine feminine. And my specialty, though, as a priestess, is to empower and educate women regarding menstruation.
Boy, it's all about menstruation today,
It is,
isn't it?
it is. But you know, you're getting your education here, Hugh.
I'm really glad you showed up today,
You're really
Gail.
glad I showed up, yeah. So tell us how, as a divine priestess and this connection to the goddess, how come you got menstruation? I don't understand. How does that work?
Well, what I asked, I was in meditation and I asked, how can I serve the world?
Right.
What is the missing link? How can we get humanity back on track? And I was given that as a message. I was asked to empower the women of the world to return their sacred womb blood back to the land. And that when women do so, we would be able to actually take men back from war. We'd be able to stop them offering the blood of death. See, a woman's blood is the blood of life. It nurtures and nourishes the land. And so we've actually become disconnected from the earth, from ourselves, from each other as women or as sisters, as friends, from the divine cosmos. And so when a woman is in her menstrual cycle, she actually becomes very open and connected to all of the things that I just mentioned. So by reclaiming menstruation as a sacred act, we reclaim all of those connections.
So you're saying then that, I mean, I think the perception out there, especially when we were talking with Kim and Amy earlier, was that there's this stigma around menstruation. There's this don't talk about it, you know, keep it hidden, and there's all these words that we use for it instead of just talking about it very openly.
See, I'm all about talking about it.
You're all about talking about it.
I'm all about talking about menstruation.
But now what you're saying is that basically there's a need to bring it back to the earth, you said. And
100%.
Now, what does that mean? I mean,
yeah,
you mean literally?
That's my question.
And how does it work?
Yeah, I mean literally, because first I'll just touch on what you were saying about the past, because it's really important for us to understand that there is a reason that we were sort of disconnected, and that's because it's such a powerful act. And what we used to do was see, our hormones are triggered by light. And so before artificial light, we were all in the same natural cycle, the circadian rhythm of the earth, the ebb and flow of natural cycle. So we were all seeing the same sun, the same moon, this sort of thing, which meant we were all bleeding or having our cycle at the same time. So there was a calendar that was built on this cycle. If you study the Mayan way, that was one of the original time counts. And this was all built around the women's menstrual cycle because it was so obvious. You can't really deny that this is occurring in the physical body. And we were all grouped together. We would all sit down. We would relax. We would take care of each other. We would tell stories. We would help each other heal if needed. That was a time when we'd do our crafting and our dreaming or drumming and singing, this sort of thing.
So a real sense of community.
Absolutely.
With the women.
Absolutely. And
Right.
so when we became disconnected from that time, we became disconnected from each other. You see, we've become competitive. We've become judgmental of ourselves and others, or insecure. And so that's one of the reasons that I'm suggesting, if we reclaim that time as sacred and sit together or just sit in peace with our cycle, it's going to affect all of those connections again.
So is that the work that you're doing right now? Tell us a little bit about how you make that happen in your community.
Well, what I've done was, with that vision that I mentioned in my meditation, I saw a tent. And so I had one made in Morocco, and I had that shipped over to Canada, and I took it around to festivals. This is how it started for me. I love camping, I love nature, and so when we are at these music festivals, often women are connecting to the land and their body responds. And so we wanted to have sort of a safe and comfortable, clean environment to explore that cycle in that time of the month. So I took these tents from festival to festival, and I would do little workshops, and I would give these teachings or just one-on-one talks and just sort of say, you know, this is what I've been doing. And it would spark something inside of that woman, and then she would come back to me later and say, you know, I tried what you've been doing, and I no longer have pain. I no longer have cramping, and I have this peace inside of me now. So thank you very much. And so I was really responding to that sort of feedback, and I just kept going. And now I teach workshops. I have a YouTube channel called Medicine Movement, where I just sort of share stories and ideas and empower people that way. We have little groups here and there, women's groups gathering around the dark moon or the full moon and this sort of thing, and just talking and sharing and empowering women to get together, which is the most important part of the work, just coming back together.
So, I mean, what I'm hearing you say is that you're having women in your environment come together around the whole area of menstruation, but that there's another bigger picture here about bringing the community of women back together.
Definitely.
Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the difference between red moon, dark moon. What does that mean?
Red moon is sort of a symbolic phrasing representing that time of the month, because when I was mentioning about our hormones being triggered by natural light, so we get on the cycle of the moon. We could be all flowing at different times, but originally it was around the dark moon, which means the phase when you can't see her. She's dark, the sky is dark, it's a time of starlight. And then full moon. So there's actually 4 phases of the moon. Right, so it starts around that dark moon, moving into new moon, and it waxes and becomes bigger into the full moon. So as the moon becomes full, originally that was the time when our eggs would become full, we'd become ripe, and we'd want to go out and celebrate. It was a time when we'd want to get pregnant and come together with others. And then during that dark phase would be more of a introspective, internal time, more of a softer time, where I always say you can't see her face, you couldn't see ours either. We'd be hiding in the tent, or now it would be in our room at home alone, and this sort of thing. So the phases of the moon are an integral part to understanding a woman.
Right. And what's the effect on men in the work that you do?
Because you did mention that by having the women return their life blood to the earth, that you could stop men from spilling death blood on the earth. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, this really isn't a feminist movement. It is a shamanic movement which talks about healing, the empowerment and the importance of healing ourselves, each other, and this world. So men are an integral part of this time of the month. They're also, of course, affected by the phases of the moon. We're all little bodies of water, right? And so if you can imagine the oceans and how they ebb and flow or rise and fall with the tides, our bodies, or our emotional bodies, are also affected by that sort of tide. So they have their own cycle. When the women are together, that gives the men time to be together as well. So more specifically, though, relating to what I was saying around war, because the land requires this type of human connection, and the women have become disconnected, she is still receiving that blood, that life force. And when the women sit down or return that flow in a ceremonial way, it's going to re-imprint the land with femininity, and that she, the land, will no longer need to receive it in the other way. It will become a more healthy vibration, an uplifting sort of nurturing or nourishing vibration, rather than receiving it through the blood of death.
Right. And I mean, the Dalai Lama said the Western woman is going to heal the world. So what I'm hearing from you is that you're doing this out in BC, I understand, right? So anyone here in Ontario or anywhere in the world watching this show, how can they get involved in this movement that you're talking about?
Well, what I would suggest is that they just start exploring that on their own. Men can empower women to explore it. Women who are no longer bleeding can support that time through meditation, or maybe taking the children for a day, so that a fertile woman who is bleeding can have her time alone. She could find me online, and I could give her some ideas, but the most important thing is that she just starts exploring what that means for her, because everything that I'm sharing is only a suggestion. It's only something to just sort of spark what might work for someone else. So the first and probably most important thing would just be taking time to be alone, taking time to slow down during that time.
Wow, which is quite a challenge for a lot of women
Absolutely.
nowadays.
And this is why I'm saying that it will shift everything, because if women start to see the need for that time to be alone or together with their sisters, instead of working the 9 to 5, popping a pill, saying they're fine, putting on their tight pants, I'm saying just sit down, relax, set it up in your environment so that you can have someone cover for you on that heavy day, and then the men at work are more understanding. So that creates a nicer work environment, it creates a nicer home environment, all of this sort of thing. So instead of having that static of a woman not being comfortable and not feeling like, hey, I don't want to be in this place right now. I need to be in a hot, warm bath, relaxing with no makeup and just doing my own thing. She's going to come back to those environments feeling much more replenished.
But that's got to be difficult, though, because a lot of the workplace, for example, it's a man's creation, in a sense.
Well,
it comes from
women are also taking on a lot of masculine energy.
Right, exactly,
from the work
to fit
environment.
into that masculine
Right, but it's how do
world.
that's some of the work that I do with women. I call it the vulnerable strength of the fully feminine, is how do you, as a woman, connect to the feminine energy, which is extremely empowering, but has to be grounded, right? So how do you work with women to be able to help them see the benefit that they will get if they follow through with this? There's a bit of a re-education process.
Oh, absolutely.
A bit of a re-education?
We have to reprogram the way everything is being done. So what I'm doing is presenting a really radical, extreme concept. And I'm okay with that right now, because what it's doing is sort of shaking up the way people are thinking. I'm not expecting this to shift overnight. I'm not expecting for women who are uncomfortable to do this. This isn't necessarily for everyone, but for people that are ready, it's a wonderful way to reclaim your health and teach our children. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to us creating new jobs. The way the world is, it's happening that way anyways. We are reformatting the way things are structured now. So I'm just sort of planting these ideas right now as seeds and hope that they grow.
Now help me to understand on your website. So tell our audience what your website is.
Sure. I don't have a business per se, so the website is more of a women's forum. It's like an online red tent where they can hear all these stories and share sort of health issues, get feedback from other women. And that is called redmoon13.ning.com. So it's redmoon13.ning.com, and that's the Ladies Only Red Tent. There's also the YouTube videos I mentioned, which is Medicine Movement, all one word, and then my name is Jasmine Starchild. You can always look me up and find me
So
online.
a woman going onto this page, what are they going to find? What are they going to see when they go on there?
They're going to see a lot of interesting stories, women that are sharing things that are taboo subjects and getting really uncensored feedback. You're also going to see a lot of images such as my red tent, images of blood, because I'm sort of shocking people into awakening, into realizing the way it used to be. And so we're going to create a modern form of menstruation.
Right. And is this, when I went on your website yesterday, is this the membership part?
Yes.
Where you go in and you sign in basically as a member. Why did you do that?
I do it that way because as a priestess, I want to help women remember the old temples. And you wouldn't just open a door and walk into a temple. You would see the temple, you would breathe it in, you would be greeted by a priestess, you would be anointed, you would be cleansed. There would be a moment of sort of deeper awareness. You would
Sounds
tune
like you're
into
changing the energy.
Absolutely. So in order for a woman to enter that site, I ask her to reflect for a moment, and that's all it is.
Right, right. Now, I was wondering why you did that.
Also, it's a women's only site,
Right.
and so I ask a couple of specific questions. Not because men aren't welcome, but because we do talk about things like rape, things that have caused a lot of trauma to women, and we want to create a safe environment there for us to go deeply.
And that is what women need in order to be able to go into intimate subjects like that, is to have a sense of safety, for sure. Well, you're creating that with what you're doing.
Now, you're in Toronto today, but are you based in BC, are you still?
Yeah, I'm living in Vancouver. I grew up here in Ontario. I'm visiting family, but I am in Vancouver.
Okay, now if people, people anywhere in the world can access the forum online, and are you taking your tent anywhere in Ontario?
Currently, my tent is stuck at the border.
Oh, dear.
I had it down in California and Oregon and Sedona, and I was doing sort of a West Coast tour.
Right.
And I have to find a way to get that back into Canada. So we'd like to set it up this summer in a few places, and I would love some invitations. Yeah.
And how are you promoting this movement that you have going here?
Well, it's a very underground type of thing, so it's all word of mouth or moments like this. And I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity to share that message.
Okay, well, great. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for coming. Very interesting.
And I guess so anybody wants to follow up, just go to the website redmoon13.ning.com, right?
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Great. Thank you for sharing all of that with us today.
Yeah. And Gail, thank you for co-hosting with me. And
my pleasure.
We found out a little bit about what you do when you're not hosting the show.
Yes.
But if people...
I love working with women. That is what I specialize in doing. I call myself a self-love expert.
I don't know what that means.
Well, that means you get to love yourself before anyone else.
Okay.
And I also work with women around the fully feminine. I said before, embracing the vulnerable strength of the fully feminine. I am a professional coach and a professional speaker. That is what I speak on as well. And I run groups for women. I also have a meetup program called Toronto Total Love Connection. So I'm all about love. And I'm all about women, because when women are happy, men are happy too.
That's a good point.
And so that's what I do. My website is gailscott.ca. And anybody can connect with me through my phone number, 416-358-1457. As a professional coach, I work with women one-on-one. But I also run groups. I have a program called Self-Love Series. It's 12 weeks to self-love. And
can men take that course?
Men cannot take that course. I really should create
but
one.
You don't think we need some
self-love? I should create one for
self-love?
men as well. And I love what I do. I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm also very much into energy and this new consciousness that we have coming along, and law of attraction. And I have many hats that I wear, coming from a dysfunctional family and knowing all about addictions and codependencies. I have a lot of that under my belt too. So I wear a lot of hats. I have a lot of knowledge and expertise, and depending on what someone needs help with, I think it starts with self. Having had no sense of self-esteem myself, I've had to learn how to build that. And talking about all the women that we've talked to today, I have 2 teenage daughters, and I've changed the trajectory of my family, because I've really helped my daughters understand who they are based on the pain and the experience that I've gone through. And that's what I bring to the table, coming from the family that I came from, to be able to help people really see who they are. And one of the biggest questions I find that people can't answer is, what do you want? Who are you and what do you want? And just having people connect back to that. And when they do that, they're happy. And that's what we want, a happier world.
Well, great. Well, thanks for doing this, and really
pleasure.
enjoyed hosting with you. I got to sort of take a little break at some of those
difficult
topics.
For
I could just kind of relax and let you take over. So thanks for doing that.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And thanks again, Jasmine, for coming on the show.
Great.
That's
Thank you.
it for the show, everybody. Thanks. We'll see you next time right here on thatchannel.com.
Hey there, it's Jasmine Starchild checking in with you. I have a message from the Red Moon Medicine Movement, and just like to send some gratitude out from my heart to Evolver for welcoming me and gifting us with this opportunity to discuss rites of passage. So the Red Moon Medicine Movement is dedicated to empowering women to reclaim their menstrual cycle as sacred once again. Look at menstruation and link it to rites of passage. What we're talking about is empowerment. We're talking about reclaiming menstruation, the blood flow, as a sacred ceremony. At this time, in order for us to get back to the sacred ways again as a culture, not just as women, but as a conscious community, one of the missing links actually is menstruation. So if you were to scan the globe and look at humanity, you will recognize that the human body is literally plugged up. And so in order for us to get connected back to the earth again, what we need to do is empower our women to sit down. We need to take time to support each other during this phase of hard work and ceremony and connection to divinity. So when I think of rites of passage in relation to menstruation, to me the most important thing would be to educate our youth, teach our young girls about their power as a life giver, their power as a fertile woman, and what it means to go from being a young child into a fertile young woman. And that's really what menarche is about. That's first blood, when a girl gets her period for the very first time. We need to gift her. We need to share with her and celebrate with her and teach her that this is an amazing opportunity and experience to get to know herself. So instead of us just handing her a box of tampons with an instruction pamphlet, what I'm suggesting is that we develop a new and modern rite of passage so that our children are not afraid of their bodies and that they can start to embrace this time as sacred once again. When we bleed, what's happening is we're being called to the earth, we're being called to the goddess, we're being called to our bodies, and what's happening is we are releasing the unfertilized energy that we no longer need, and so it must go back to the earth in a good way. So the first rite of passage is menstruation for a woman, and the second rite of passage would then become motherhood, if she so chooses to have a child, that is. Not everyone will experience that rite of passage, and that is of course a certain privilege, to be able to create life. So each month, a woman has the opportunity to deepen with herself and get to know if this is for her. And if a woman chooses not to create life, I would then empower you to regenerate your blood. We don't actually have to release an egg each month. Bet you didn't know that, but it's true. We don't actually have to bleed, and in the Taoist way, it is considered a chi loss to be creating eggs and releasing eggs if we don't actually need to, if we're not going to be having children. So that's another thing to focus on. And then the third rite of passage for women would then be menopause, when we are no longer fertile. So really, the different phases of life for a woman are marked by these rites of passage, and it all has to do with fertility in this one area that I'm speaking of specifically, that is. So of course we have many other stages that we go through, but in relation to the menstruation and the blood flow, creating a ritualized experience for the young girl to enter into womanhood is, I think, one of the biggest missing links to us embracing menstruation as a sacred act. So if the girl, she gets her first moon, is celebrated and adorned and empowered and educated about what that means to be able to create life, then each month as she enters her ceremony. I call menstruation a ceremony because it is our responsibility to pray during that time. So as she enters her ceremony, it will be much more aware and empowered and informed. There will be less fear, and women will be able to therefore take better care of their bodies. And when we take better care of our bodies, we have better health. When we have better health, we have better state of mind. And each year we have 13 opportunities to enter ceremony. So a woman will actually menstruate or bleed 13 times in a solar year. So that's why the number 13 is so sacred to us, 13 moons. And hopefully if we get connected to the ebb and flow of nature, we would be bleeding or releasing during the dark moon. So what I'm hoping to do and what the Red Moon Medicine Movement is focused on is teaching women to create sisterhood and circles and tents and awareness every dark moon. It doesn't mean you'll naturally start flowing at that time right away. And you know, what's most important is just being authentic and allowing your body to do what it needs to do when it needs to do it. So there really is no right or wrong way, but what we want to do is reclaim it as a sacred act. So what I suggest each month is that the woman who is on her time would set up a menstrual altar. You could put red cloth, red candles. You might want to mark yourself with a beautiful red necklace or a red bracelet or something that starts to signify to people in your family or community that you're in your power at that time. And of course a woman's power is emotion, intuition, flow, and it's important for us at that time to sit down. So for the longest time we have done what we can to prove our strength and standing up and you know, standing beside the man in strength, in physical strength. And now that we know that we are strong, I'm here to dare you, really, to prove to the rest of us that you're strong in the sense of being vulnerable. Do you have the strength to ask for help each month? Do you have the strength to stop what you're doing? Do you have your strength to sit down and pray with me and sit with me in circle so that the men can become the strong warrior protectors? Once again, from the outside of our, maybe it's our bedroom, or maybe it's the red tent or a moon lodge. So when the women come back together in circle and sisterhood with each other, that allows the time for the men to get together and support themselves as well. So what we're looking at creating is individual rites of passage for each person, but then for each gender, and then we'll have like strong pillars in our own truth where then we can come back together as one. So that's a little bit about you know, some of the rites of passage that I'm interested in reinitiating. So if you really look into shamanism and spirituality and want to practice helping the earth rebirth herself back to herself, what you're going to find is that supporting healthy menstruation and moon time is the most important thing that you can do for all of us, not just for women. And so creating these rites of passage, menstruation, motherhood, menopause, these are the three main celebrations for a woman.